Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sports Newscast Report. My name is Jim Parsons. I'm here with thesportser.com. It is Wednesday, July 15th, right before Fight for the Fallen on AEW. We got tons of news to go through. We'll start with some AEW stuff. We'll move on to some WWE stuff. But before we do that, I want to remind you, this Sunday night, Extreme Rules, we're going to have Talking Extreme Rules right after the pay-per-view. So you're welcome to join us, interact with us, talk about the pay-per-view winners and losers, break it all down, and have some fun with that pay-per-view. So we'll get right into the news. Today, of course, is Fight for the Fallen, which means Jon Moxley will be facing Brian Cage, the FTW champion, versus the AEW champion. Only the AEW championship will be on the line tonight. Moxley's a favorite to win here. This match came from the fact that Moxley had to stay home with Renee Young having the COVID-19 virus. But we'll see what Fight for the Fallen looks like tonight. It should be a stacked card. It should be a lot of fun. But there's also news in AEW that Cody Rhodes and Tony Khan have talked about their negotiations in the past with CM Punk, why CM Punk never signed with AEW, and both of them basically said it came down to money, that CM Punk was asking for an astronomical amount of money, and that AEW was interested, but not that interested to the point where they would spend so much money that it might look like the old WCW days where they were spending money, not making a profit, really just sinking things into wrestlers who could make a difference, but not that big of a difference. So there might still be interest in CM Punk, but the money's got to come down if they're ever going to do that. So that was the whole story behind that one, but they said they're still in good terms. You never really know what could happen there. As far as Extreme Rules goes, this is going to be a very cinematic-heavy pay-per-view. There's lots going on between the eye for an eye match between Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins, between the Swamp match with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. Now they're releasing some posters, potentially. Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler could be a tables, ladders, and chairs match. This Nikki Cross versus Bayley match could have something to do with the come play with me / the Shining type of thing. Not sure if that's a cinematic match or not, but they've released a bunch of posters, and it sure looks like they're having some fun with these cinematic style matches. So we'll see what that one comes about. Speaking of Bayley, she has gone on Twitter and said that her and Sasha Banks would like to face both Trish Stratus and Lita at SummerSlam. So they've called out two WWE Hall of Famers and want to have that match at SummerSlam. There's no response. There's no word from Trish Stratus or Lita whether or not they're going to be involved. WWE hasn't said anything about that, but what we do know is SummerSlam's card has been kind of ripped up. They're starting from scratch here, back at the Performance Center, really rebooking the pay-per-view. So it could be something that they do, or it could just be Bayley having some fun. NXT is in the news. Triple H has talked during an interview about what their booking strategy is going to be moving forward, basically with the COVID-19 pandemic and society and the culture and all that stuff, that they want to be very sensitive to the heartaches and hardships of people all around the world. So NXT is going to be very sensitive in how they book things moving forward, watch what storylines they cover, what things they don't. And my question for you is, it's a nice sentiment. I'm not sure how exactly that's going to work, especially since they've already run a Drake Maverick losing his job kind of storyline. So we'll see if they can continue to do that or not and how that goes. And also with NXT, and here's my question of the day for you. Kevin Owens did reveal in an interview that he did talk to Vince McMahon and Triple H about going back to NXT on a regular basis. Says he would love to do that. He wants to really just be used wherever he's useful. Raw, SmackDown, NXT doesn't really matter to him, but he'd love the chance to go back to NXT. So my question for you is this. If you could move anybody, any Raw, SmackDown roster person to NXT, who would you move? You can do a trade, maybe bring somebody from NXT over to Raw or SmackDown, or you can just simply move somebody from Raw or SmackDown to NXT. Who would you move? Would it be Kevin Owens? Would it be somebody else? Who would you send to NXT if you could pick anybody off the Raw or SmackDown roster and move them over? All right, that's going to do it for Wednesday. Don't forget, Friday we'll have a newscast report. Sunday is Talking Extreme Rules. And, of course, Fight for the Fallen on AEW tonight. So enjoy that show. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk to you on Friday. And then, of course, Sunday night with Extreme Rules. See you guys.